Hi folks, I'm Jim Papandrea. Welcome to my home office, aka the spare bedroom. This is where I write my books, and this is where some of my songs were written. Now I know I haven't uploaded a video to my channel in a while, but actually people have continued to subscribe, and I'm really grateful for that. And as it turns out, I just passed 500 subscribers. So I'm making this video to thank you for subscribing and to send out as a thank you to all of my subscribers. Now, if you've subscribed because you like my church history videos, then I want to encourage you to buy my books. And I'm going to tell you more about my books at the end of this video in a couple of minutes, so that if you don't want to sit through that, you can stop it. But I'm going to tell you more about each of the books in a minute, and also I'm going to tell you why I don't allow comments on my lecture videos. If you subscribe to my channel because you like my music, then I want to encourage you to get my CD if you haven't already. My latest CD is called Still Quiet Voice, and the link is in the description, so you can look that up and you can get it, and talk a little bit more about that in a minute as well. But before I get to my stuff, I want to do something. I don't usually endorse fiction, but I got to tell you about a book I just finished. This is called Time Signature by Carlo Kennedy, and I'm a sucker for all things time travel. And this book incorporates time travel and music, and the protagonist is half Italian and half Irish like I am, so it was a no-brainer for me. But it's a great book, so I encourage you to check it out. Okay. So again, I want to thank you for subscribing, and I'm just going to take a couple of minutes to talk about my books. Okay, I have 6 books out. The most recent one is Rome, A Pilgrim's Guide to the Eternal City. Now if you're going to Rome, you should get this because this will tell you all the most important churches to see. It's not a travel guide though, so it's not going to tell you like what hotels to stay in or what restaurants to eat in, but it will tell you what sites are important, especially for the early and medieval period of the history of Christianity. And for all the churches and the other archaeological sites, it gives you the history, and it gives you the story behind the saints that the churches are named after, and it also gives you some prayers that you can pray when you're in those churches. Even if you're not going to Rome, it can be a good devotional guide that can help you connect with the early Christians. So that's Rome, A Pilgrim's Guide to the Eternal City. Trinity 101 is short, very accessible, for the absolute beginner to understand the doctrine of the Trinity. And if you're Catholic and you're wondering what the heck the word consubstantial means, I'm going to tell you in that book. Reading the Early Church Fathers is my textbook for early Christianity. The early church fathers are the earliest Christian writers after the Bible. So, if you're interested in finding out what happened to the church after the time of the New Testament, including how the New Testament even got to be formed, all of that stuff is in Reading the Early Church Fathers. And in fact, if you've been watching my lectures on YouTube, a lot of that stuff became the book, but don't think you don't need the book just because you've seen the lectures, because I fill in a lot of the gaps. So check out that book. Novation of Rome is more of a technical book. If you're really into the doctrine of the early church and you want to find out about one particular theologian, a guy named Novation, and how he was instrumental in formulating the doctrine of the Trinity and our understanding of Christ, and also pretty much everything that came before him in the 2nd and 3rd centuries, well, that book might be for you, but it's a little bit more technical. It's a little bit more of an academic book. The Wedding of the Lamb is my book that will help you interpret the book of Revelation. So if you've ever read the book of Revelation in the Bible, it's the last one in the Bible, or if you've ever seen one of those wacky movies about the end of the world, and you're wondering, what's up with that, really? The Wedding of the Lamb is how the earliest Christians would have understood the book of Revelation. In other words, what is that book really getting at? Because it's so symbolic, and it's so often misunderstood. So if you've ever wondered how you could get some help to understand the book of Revelation, you want to check out The Wedding of the Lamb. Last but not least, Spiritual Blueprint. And this is kind of a self-help book. Organize your life around spiritual principles. It's based on a concept I came up with called the 5 homes. Every life, every person has 5 areas of life that need to feel at home. So it's called Spiritual Blueprint: How We Live, Work, Love, Play, and Pray. And basically the 5 homes are the home for your hands is your work, your occupation, how you pay the bills. The home for your mind is what you're interested in, your passions, your hobbies, your the way that you find to have creative outlets. Everybody needs those, even if you don't think you're creative. The home for your body is, of course, the house you live in, or the place where you live. You need to have a peaceful place to come home to at the end of the day. The home for your heart is your relationships, including significant others. So there's a chapter on love and marriage. And the home for your spirit is your faith community. And no matter what your religion or denomination, I think that this book will be helpful for you, especially if you feel like maybe some parts of your life are a little out of whack. This book will help you put things into perspective and help you figure out what parts of life you need to work on. So those are the 6 books that I have. There is actually a kind of a 7th, and that is a thing I put together called All the Songs, which is a compilation of all the songs I've ever written, the lyrics to each song, and each song has a little description at the beginning that talks about the meaning behind the lyrics, what I was thinking when I wrote it, what I was going through in my life, and the whole thing is sort of organized chronologically, so it's a bit of an autobiography through my songwriting. That book is free. It's just a PDF to download either from my website or from the website for the CD, Still Quiet Voice. Which reminds me, don't forget to check out my CD, Still Quiet Voice. And I'm kind of adamant about buying whole albums. I'm one of the people that believes that single song downloads is ruining the music industry. So you can go on the Still Quiet Voice website and read a little blog about why I think people should buy whole albums and why we should not give in to this single song culture. But that's my beef, and anyway, check out the CD. Now, some people have asked why I don't allow comments on my lecture videos. And really the reason is that I put these lecture videos up on YouTube so that I could teach classes online, and so the videos were there for my students, but as you know, a lot of people were finding them on their own and watching them. And then they would post questions for me in the comments section. The problem is I wasn't able to keep up with those questions, and I found that someone would post a question and I wouldn't even realize it was there for a while, and by the time I got to it, it was 6 months later, and I felt bad. So I just couldn't keep up with all of the questions that came up from the lectures. So what I'd really like you to do is buy the book, Reading the Early Church Fathers. That'll answer a lot of your questions. And if you still have questions for me, I'm happy to answer them. Just email me. I'm much better with email. You can email me through my website. There's a contact link there. Also, feel free to connect with me on Facebook. I could use more Facebook friends, and especially Twitter. I'm moving more and more towards Twitter, and I'm also on GOODREADS. So go ahead and connect with me on any of those places. Once again, I want to thank you. If you're a subscriber, thank you for being one of the over 500 subscribers to my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And last but not least, don't forget to check out Time Signature by Carlo Kennedy. You won't be sorry. It's a really good read. All right, thanks again, and I hope to see you soon.